I'm Steve Bijou, and this is Downhome Corner. You know, I grew up in the Maritimes, a place rich with stories and storytellers, and I realized everybody has a story, and we are all connected. This episode is by request. We'll connect with Bobby Perrault, a singer-songwriter originally from Miguasha, Quebec, now living in the Ottawa area. We'll talk about his career, his famous musical family, and even a little bit about fossils. Plus, we'll play 3 of Bobby's songs too. I know you'll enjoy them, so let's get right to the show. Well, welcome to Downhome Corner, Bobby Perrault. Am I saying it right? Is it Perrault or Perrault? How do you prefer to say it in your family?
That well depends what language you're speaking. So it's parent, or parent, depending on what part of the country you're from.
As long as you come to the show, we're happy, right?
Right on. So I grew up in Miguasha and live in the Ottawa region. We'll say just east of Ottawa, right along the river, the Seaway, St. Lawrence Seaway. But I grew up in Miguasha, in Nouvelle and I guess BZ.
Beautiful area, and certainly great fodder for ideas for writing. Have you been writing a long time, or was any of that inspired back there?
Yeah, well, I have been, and then I didn't let music go, but I put songwriting on a shelf. But I had occasion, like I said, I'm living in Ottawa now. I was down to like SBZ a few weeks ago, and I was rummaging through my mother's garage where I found a demo that I'd recorded in 1996, 1997, and I hadn't heard the songs in years. But we recorded at a studio just outside of Fredericton, New Brunswick. I was actually going to university there. And so that was in 96, 97. And then I I played a lot of music, did a lot of music, but songwriting was put on the shelf until 2018, where I had the occasion. Life was changing a little bit, and I had some time, and I had some energy, and some artistic motivation, I guess, and started writing again. And that's where we got to this project of Real Love, this album or EP or whatever you want to call it these days, but a series of 10 songs. So, but I've been writing for a long time, and then like I said, I put it on the shelf for a bit. But
I have 2 memories of Miguasha. Well, one is a kind of a partial memory. Miguasha Lodge. I ended up there when I was 17 years old. Graduation night. Somehow I ended up at Miguasha Lodge. I don't know how I got there. Who drove me there, who drove me home. And the other memory of Miguasha is about 15 years ago. I'm on the beach, sobered up a long time. But I'm walking the beach and looking for fossils. And, I'd heard that some of the oldest fossils in the world are in that area, Miguasha. And I find this little rock, and I pick it up, and on the other side is almost a perfect imprint of what they call a lungfish. And so I bring it in and I show the people in the museum, and they're just flipping out. They're going, "Oh my God!" And I go, "Well, do I get to keep this?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So they say, well, we're going to put this in a display case, and we'll put your name beside it saying that you discovered it and all this kind of thing. So I've never got a chance to go back there again. So, if you have any family members that are close to Miguasha, that area, let me know, because I need to check into this.
That's wow. That's cool. So Miguasha is well known for 2 things: the Miguasha Lodge, where you were as a young lad, probably up to no good on your graduation, and
Yep.
And of course, it's an actual UNESCO site. So it's one of 10 UNESCO sites in Canada. So and it's a paleontology site from. I'm not going to bore people too much with technical details of all that, but it's from a Devonian age, and that lungfish you would have picked up is a Eustenoperan furdy, which is like a Swedish paleontologist found in maybe the 1930s. That's why it became a UNESCO site, because it's the actual fossil of the first fish starting to go onto land. So after that, you lose my uncle, and I had a few uncles that actually worked in with the fossil. So I could see you getting that fossil and them looking at it and being very excited, and then saying, no, you can't have it. For sure. It's famous for two things, yeah, and that's one. I actually grew up just beside this the museum that's been developed over the decades, and it's quite a site. The whole south side of Miguasha is actually owned by the government now because of the site itself.
Beautiful. It's I'm telling you, you know your stuff. I was going to ask if you opened the museum.
Yeah.
You
got to know something about fossils if you're from Miguasha for sure. It's our but I grew up and I had family that worked in that field, and it's really cool. If you look 300 Devonian age would have been 350 million years ago. So that's why it became so famous, so subtly famous. It became because of this, this lungfish, or the Eastern Oppenfurti is the technical name for it. So, and someone may listen to the show and actually correct me on that, but I'm pretty sure I know what I'm talking about.
You seem to, that's for sure. You got me fooled if you don't. But so obviously you've been surrounded by fossils, and you've been surrounded by the knowledge of fossils and the studies. Was it paleontology? I'm trying.
Study paleontology.
Yeah. But I mean, you've also been surrounded by music most of your life too. So you come by your love for music organically, because there was a lot of music in your family, wasn't there?
Yeah, so tons of. So I would have not gone through very many days where someone wasn't playing an acoustic guitar. Either my father, my uncles, my cousins, and very, very deep rooted. I mean, the region itself is including like Hamilton, New Brunswick. I believe that's your territory, and that whole area of that eastern part of Quebec and northern part of New Brunswick is steeped in music. And yeah, for me it was 7 or 8 guitar players usually around at a Christmas party, all trying to sing over each other and get noticed. And but some really good players though. My cousin Kevin went on for and still has a huge career in the Quebec music scene. And it's been around me. It's been around me my whole life, and we like the songwriters. It was just I grew up listening to the songs of Leonard Cohen and Bob Dylan and Tom Petty, and then into the country world of Johnny Cash and Waylon Jennings and Merle Haggard and on and on and on. So I had this very vast, different uncles would play different songs and different cousins would play different styles of music. So certainly was surrounded by the acoustic guitar.
Yeah, and if you're a sponge, I mean, you had no choice but to be really taught an awful lot about music and playing and performing, I would think.
Well, yeah, it's funny though. There's some in the family that somehow it escaped them all. So, I would say 60-70% of the family play music, or at least sing or play an instrument, and then some the passion to play and it escapes them, and we tease them, and they're a little bit outside the group sometimes, but we love them anyway.
Now, you mentioned your cousin Kevin Perrin, who's had a very successful recording career. Does that help, or does it make it more difficult for you?
It neither in my case. Like for Kevin, Kevin made it big with in probably 93, 94, 95, like and I was doing my own thing. I was in university and living in a kind of a different place, and the whole family was really proud of Kevin for being able to do that. I mean, he had loads of talent, and then for myself in music, it was separate. It's sometimes you have a famous person in your family. To the outside world, oh, you got a famous person in the family. To us, it's Kevin too. So, we were just talking before the interview started about connections, and so I was down for the first time back home in Miguasha since 2016, and I got a a chance to really talk a lot with Kevin. We've been talking over the last few weeks. Unfortunately, I have an illness with my mother is very ill in the family. So, but it brought us back to, talking about that, talking with the family, but then talking a lot about music and he loves to share. Kevin is he just loves music, very just the technical parts of it, the studio, the engineering parts of it, sound and EQs, and as well as acoustic guitars and singing. So it's been really nice to reconnect with Kevin with this album. And Kevin actually said, "I'm glad you didn't come to me for any help with this." But he said, I'm there, for whatever I can do. And it was it was just a nice reconnection that I was able to have with him.
You can't call your album Miguasha. He's already beaten you to the punch on that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, he did it in French, I think, most of that. But,
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even notice that there was one of the albums called Miguasha that he has. But he really he later on in his career, he liked to write about like a lot of songwriters, he liked to write about what was happening, a little bit of his history in that area, so he was humming my song "Real Love" though when I was down there. He said, "I can't get that stupid song out of my head," but the chorus to it. But yeah, so no, I won't call it Miguasha, but I actually did write a song that's not recorded or anything, and it's about the Houston Opera and Flutie, the lungfish that you found. I wrote a whole folk tale about this, but I don't know if I brought it into the studio and it was rejected, or if I just didn't bring it in at all. But one day maybe I'll record that song.
Who knows?
The Prince of Miguasha, it's called, the song. Yeah, that's what it's called, the Prince of Miguasha, referring to this fish that you found, this fossil.
Wow, I like the imagery of that. That's really cool. That's cool. The Prince of Miguasha. Yeah.
The Prince of Miguasha, yeah.
Well, let's get to your latest project, Real Love. Both the song and the album, or the EP as you call it. You've kind of embraced your life story or your journey in life, and you've put it to music in some ways, or at least it's inspired you in that way. You definitely have something to say. So how would you describe the project?
Well, the project started with the roots of that whole project is very much a songwriting project of me. So I wrote all the songs on it, and I had come through some pretty dark times and some hard times with alcohol, and 2017, somewhere I think November 2017. Something just sparked in my head that maybe there was another way of life, maybe I could live a sober life, and that's where I started writing this. So when I got sober in 2017, part of the process became of working hard. I mean, I did a lot of work. I started these projects and mindfulness and meditation and working with other people, and part of that that therapy, if you want, was I started writing songs, and some of those songs were like Real Love. I was at a bus stop, and the song was kind of written. So, and I literally had to run home and write that song. I have a little black book where I wrote all these songs, and I wrote that song, and that sort of started the wheel of songwriting, and the whole project became sort of a therapy. Sort of, I was trying to project even to myself a more positive view of life, and a more where there was an apology necessary. I would write a song like that, and it became a great tool to sort of rediscover a little bit of myself, rediscover or discover a part of myself that I didn't know was there, and living in a certain lifestyle and then changing that lifestyle, and so I wrote these songs, and that's where the root of it it was. It was really not intended. I didn't have any intention to publish the songs. They were it was just me and a pen and a guitar, and that was good enough. And just to write those songs and put them down, and later it got picked up by a few other people, and then we ended up in a studio for a few years. And by the grace of other people, we got this project done. And and I decided, once I had met Kevin Cook, who engineered and produced the project, and once he invited me to his studio, and we went at the recording process, and so that was actually a few years in the studio, just because we didn't have a lot of consecutive days in a row that we could be in there. But over a couple of years, we recorded these songs, and then I met someone else who said, well, maybe we can help you promote this, and that's when I sort of kind of said, well, if we're going to do all of this, promote this project, and then I'd like to be able to talk about recovery and the possibilities of recovery, and to share my story, if you will, as an inspiration to other people, that it's possible, that recovery from addictions and alcoholism is positive. So I put myself out there a little bit, but I've had some wonderful conversations with people about asking about that, and knowing family members that's gone through that or going through that, and that's what I decided that I really like to do on the promotion, and that's kind of where we are today, for the love of music, for the promotion of music too, and then for the promotion of I'm not trying to preach, I guess. I'm just trying to share my story, that there is a way out of all this stuff, and there is another way, and there's another life that's beautiful, and it's possible. And so that's where we are with the project right now.
Well, you make a really good point. I like how you talk about the fact that music can be both cathartic and creative, and when you meld the two of them together, that's where you can really find some magic. But you brought up a good point. You have a message, but you're not preachy. I think you're kind of putting it out there for people, sort of thing, and pick it up if you want or don't. And I think that's the best you can do.
Yeah, I'm like most artists, that I want you to like the music and like the song, and and if you do, and that's great, and if that message can resonate with someone, if it can help, if it can sort of stir up something within them that can inspire them, maybe into looking at life a little bit differently, then that's great. And you try not to do it without being, like I said, being too preachy. I'm not trying to tell people I have the answers, but I'm trying to say, this is what happened to me, I guess, is what I'm saying. So this is what happened to me, and it changed my life, and it changed my life in beautiful ways.
Well, let's get right to one of your songs then, and let's talk about the song in question, "Real Love." Do you want to set it up?
"Real Love" is it's the song. I was at a bus stop, literally in Ottawa, and this song, maybe a verse or two came into my head. I ran home, and it probably took me a day and a half to finish, and it was, the song is sort of inside that lyrics. If you listen in, it's sort of, I'd say the rejection of one lifestyle and the choice for another lifestyle, and I sort of use this barroom scene and in it to sort of, I reject the scene. I don't, and I have nothing against the bars or anything, but I kind of use this scene that we've all been in, and then I sort of make up a couple of things in there about a beautiful women. If you really listen to lyrics about beautiful women coming on to me and me rejecting that for real love, but that's some poetic license in that. But
and a little symbolism too, maybe.
Yeah. So, but the song is, and it's gone through some changes. It's actually was recorded differently. The chords have remained the same, and the structures kind of remain the same, but it was recorded rhythmically. I guess it went through some major changes. So that's what we have now with that song is a bit of an Afro kind of Afro beat that was given by Tommy Krukowski, who's on the drums, and so it was a lot of fun to record. I brought in the songs that these guys did a lot with the arrangement, and brought this new life to the song, and that's what we have with Real Love, and it's the title track to the album.
All right, so this is Real Love on Downhome Corner.
Everyone was dancing, drinking a hand. Everyone was following the beat of the band. I was in the corner, alone in the room. You came up to me and said, I've got something you can use. Everyone was laughing, everyone was high. Everyone was telling their own little lies. You came up to me, said, baby, you're cool. Let's run away and be each other's fools. No, 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 I'm looking for real love. No, 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 I'm looking for real love. I was living in a universe, thinking I was God. Inventor of beauty, inventor of love. I was looking for perfection where there was no truth. Manipulating everyone so I could never lose. Everyone was talking, slurring the words, telling the stories that we've already heard. You were there, beauty undenied. You said to me, let's run into the night. Everyone was crying, man left the stage. Don't matter how old we are times, we don't act our age. Lights came on, too brilliant to accept. Said I'll give you one last chance to take all you can get. No, 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 I'm looking for real love. Real love, real love. No, 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 I'm looking for real love. I was living in a universe, thinking I was God. Inventor of beauty, inventor of love. I was looking for perfection where there was no truth. Manipulating everyone so I could never lose. Everyone was dancing, everyone was dancing, everyone was dancing, everyone was dancing, everyone was dancing.
I love the solo in that song. Who is that?
So that was Gilles Massy, Mr. Smooth. He's very smooth. Yeah, you can. So Gilles Massy is a great guitar player, jazz fusionist guitar player, and can do almost any style. A lot of fun to have him in the studio. But that's his work on the electric. I think he might have been on the Strat or the Telecaster on that one. But he's a great player. He's actually on a few different few of the tracks.
You have a good
Off the
band,
album.
really good band, and I like the fact that they're not all 19-year-olds too.
No, they definitely have passed 19, and it's funny. It's getting in the studio with. So I'll just set it up a bit. The project and my partners on this on the actual sound recordings are Kevin Cook and Tom Krakowski. And so they brought all this experience that I didn't really. I brought the songs into the studio, and then these guys brought a lot of rhythm experience, if you will, and they brought a lot of talent. And Kevin brought in a lot of these musicians that are on the project, and so definitely not 19, but very very experienced, and that it's kind of what I'm proud about this project. It's just that they were able to bring all this years and decades of playing in different styles of music, different bands, and they brought this in. I gotta say, there was times where I was sort of feeling like the ugly duckling in the room with them, or just the wow, because these guys could tell so many stories, and they had so many stories of where they'd been and who they played with, and really, really good players. And they come from a lot of these guys that come from a jazz world. So I just thought it was great. I was saying, you're not too bored with this stuff, I hope, guys. You're not. But yeah, they were awesome to work with. Gilles Massey, who's on Dogs, another song on the track, and Real Love, fantastic players.
I really like the jazz influence and that thing. You can feel the smoothness of it, and that's why I was saying, they're not 19, meaning they have a few decades experience in studios, and you can really get the smoothness in players like that. And not only that, but they really enjoy doing a project like this, because a lot of times it's kind of out of the norm for them. They get a chance to really kind of open up and have some fun,
Yeah, definitely. And and they had a lot of fun, but you had to be ready to listen to the maestro, and that was Kevin Cook, and Kevin guided a lot of things along too, and so there was some challenges in there for them, and Kevin was just great with maybe this sounds great, but maybe we can try this, and to get that complete sound, because it definitely is. There's some polished musicians with some polished licks that are in there from Gilles Massey, but it was very much a project of how would I put it? Just it was a cooperative project of my songs brought in with the engineering and production of Kevin. And so and I hope that's the sound that people can feel off of it. It's a produced product, but it's very organic in a lot of ways,
Yeah, and that's a tough blend, to have something to feel organic but yet polished at the same time. It's a really narrow pocket, but you guys seem to have achieved it. Let's look at another song on the album, Always. I get a kick out of this because it's almost, to me, when I first hear the opening chords, it almost feels like a train song, if that makes sense to you. I feel like, like the old train, like I'm leaving and she's, just not for me, and I'm going to find a new life in Kansas City. And, there's almost and I mean this in the positive sense, there's almost a Boxcar Willie kind of adventurism.
Oh, my. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Like there's freedom in it, like and it's almost a song of resolve as well, because even though it's not necessarily a happy ending, there is sort of a resolve. Am I hitting on anything that makes sense?
You know what? That's said nicely about the song. The song is about, we've all been through hard times in relationships, and so that's what the song kind of was. It's to a former partner saying, well, all this has happened, but I wish you well. I wish you happiness. I wish you all of this. What's funny about the song, what you're talking about in this train beat, is so I wrote the song on an acoustic guitar, and it's a lot slower version that I brought in. And on this song, there's just Tommy and Kevin and I on the track, and so I brought the song in, and then Tommy just starts this beat, and I'm like, where's this? This is not quite the rhythm that I'd brought in, but let's see where it goes. Let's go with it. And Tommy puts this train beat definitely a train beat rhythm down to it, and it was just nice. It just changed it probably brought the song up from what I brought in, which was a little bit more of a slower, sadder sort of rhythm to it, and that's just another occasion in this album, in this project, where it was these guys that said, they didn't say anything. They just like 1, 2, 3, 4, go, and Tommy starts with his beat. So Kevin and I was like, okay, well, let's go with that. And that's the song. And that's what's great about that we had in this project in general. It was about letting us all be ourselves and let us do it without dictating that it had to be this way, or at me as a songwriter saying, no, it's got to be sadder, it's got to be this way, or it's got to be that way. If it was kind of working, we let it go, and that song was recorded pretty quick. Actually, it was done. Maybe Kevin would remember better, but probably 1 or 2 takes. It wasn't. It didn't take long, and I recorded the vocals after, and even the vocals were done, and which never happened in this whole track. Maybe in 1 or 2 takes. Kevin usually made me do things 100 times over, so to get things right. But so it turned out to be kind of a fun song. The words, are expressing this story of I guess it's a sad story in a sense, but it was also intended to be. I like the way you put it. Just there was resolve in just saying, hey, listen, I wish you well. I hope I wish you the best, and that's what it.
Yeah, I don't see sadness. At the most, maybe a bit of melancholy, but you know what I mean? I don't, the word sad for me doesn't fit into that, but that's just my, view on it, my take on it,
Yeah, well, that's Tommy. That's Tommy on the rhythm. He was just in no mood to be sad, and so he picked up the pace, and it was great. Yeah, and I guess it's not sad. I mean, it's just it's telling a story. I guess that's what the song is.
So let's give it a listen. This is Always on Downhome Corner.
When you said goodbye, I broke like a child. I never thought this could happen. And you moved on like the sun going down, and I got lost in the darkness. The sun goes east to west. The day will come to rest. May God be with you always. Through sun, shine and rain, through the mountains and the plains, we drifted across this big country. I remember the day you said there's a child on its way. Let's go back to our home by the ocean. The sun goes east to west. The day will come to rest. May God be with you always. Now years have gone by. Sometimes I'll still cry. It's been hard to mend this heart that's broken, but I accept and I know why you had to go, and your tears too have fallen. The sun goes east to west. The day will come to rest. May God be with you always. I remember that walk on the beach, in the park. I knew then I would love you. But I know I've done wrong. I can't change it with this song. It's just to say, may God be always with you.
Yeah, I really do like the brushes on that song. It gives it a nice feel, you know. It's a cozy feel almost, you know.
Yeah, cozy.
Cozy Powell.
Yeah, it's kind of, you know, it's just turned to be one of those songs. You kind of, you know, it's kind of, you got the feel of driving in a car and you can put the window down and it's a nice day yeah, again, that's a lot of Tommy, Mr. Krukowski, just doing his thing. And Tommy would always surprise us with things that, you know, we'd think things would be one way. And he was just had so much rhythmic experience in his life of playing in different styles and different bands. And that's a really good example of a drummer coming in and sort of, I'm not saying dictating what it was, but just kind of picking up and feeling things a little bit more than what the song was on my acoustic, you know, and change the song for the good, I think.
It's the sum of all parts that makes a song. You know, you build it sometimes, and when you're open to ideas, as you say, a song can take a different direction, but sometimes that's the best direction for a song, you know?
It is, and it's just when you can just let the control go, and you don't have to be in control, and that's what another experience that I was doing is just trying to. I lived a long time like thinking I can control everything, and this was, you know, something that I've been working on and working on, and then to get in the studio and just say, you know what, I would tell the guys in advance, is like, I'll go with the majority on things. I used to joke around and saying, whatever the majority says, that's fine. And I would let these guys have their own, because, you know, everyone that listens to a song, like our favorite songs, you listen to it, and then, you know, your friend might listen to it and love the song. And it's a different experience for the two people, though, you know, just listening to the same song can be, and that's what it was like in the studio. It was, they had their own interpretation of it, and another person had their own interpretation. And then the final product was sort of, you know, a collaborative, sort of effort that makes that final product. So, but a lot of fun. It was, I haven't been in the studio for maybe a year now, and with those guys, and it was just a lot of fun. It was just a very positive experience. A lot of coffee drinking and recording in the daytime, and not the stories of of Led Zeppelin and recording and Queen recording back in the day and all the crazy stories. It was really it was just an ordinary day with a cup of coffee and get in. And in between these songs, I'd hear all these stories, and that I couldn't really participate because I just didn't have that sort of knowledge and experience that these guys have. So I'd get to play, I get to record, which is a lot of fun, and then I get to listen to what would be like the history of rock and roll, if you will.
Oh, yeah, you got to love it. I mean, one of the best parts of playing with other musicians is to hear the stories of other people they played with. You know, music is story, not just in the songs, but also in what you share with each other, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's get to the final song that we'll play from the album on this episode of Downhome Corner. And the song is called Dogs. And I can't figure out if this is a bait and switch or if it's deeper. I can't figure out if this is a song about dogs or if it's all symbolism. So please, give me some peace of mind here. It's a great tune. The melody is so infectious. It grabs you right off the top by the kahunas, and it just goes from there. And I mean, it's a fun song. So describe Dogs to me and how it came about.
I like that setup. That's awesome. Is there something deeper going on there? Sometimes something turns out to be more symbolism than it was really intended. And I've had the experience with this song, talking to Willow Sound Records, Tara Shannon, who is the record label on this. And when you're trying to promote something, and so what are we trying to say here? Are we trying to, is it freedom? Are we breaking away from something and we're going into something else? And I had a great write-up in a local newspaper that the journalist went into this I forget exactly what it was, but this Greek mythology, and I was thinking, this song has sparked so much of this. What is this all about? And to be honest with you, I was house sitting for a friend of mine in the West End of Ottawa. And I was alone, and I hit this lick that you hear, that lick that opens up the song, so I had that in my hand, and then I would take these walks just around the neighborhood. It's very, very suburban, just the suburbs, deep in the suburbs of Ottawa, and people were walking with their dogs. And I love dogs, and so I think, I wish they'd just let the dogs go, and they could come and see me, and I could pet their dogs, because it's very risky to walk up to other people's dogs on the streets in Ottawa and pet them. But so there was this definite. So unfortunately, I'd love to say that this had this steeped in mythology and. But it's really a song about living in the suburbs of the West End of Ottawa, and me liking to just let your dog go, and I can pet him, and that's maybe I shouldn't tell these stories like that. Maybe I should say no. It's all metaphorical, and it's very, very deep. But no, it's not really not what it was intended.
Oh, well, you got two choices. You can go that route, or you can embrace the honesty thing, or you can go the being there thing. Do you remember the movie with Peter Sellers, Being There?
No, I remember Peter Sellers.
Oh yeah, well, great comedian. One of the classic comedians of all time, or comic actors, whichever. But the movie goes, he's a gardener for this really rich guy. The rich guy dies, and his name is Chauncey, Peter Sellers, and Chauncey is the gardener. Okay, now he's not been exposed to the rest of the world for like 30 or 40 years, and he's lived in this little estate, serving this rich guy doing his garden. And so all of these reporters come up afterwards, because apparently the rich guy that died was a big financial genius or something. And they meet Chauncey, and he starts telling them things about the garden. In the spring, we plant and we reap after watering. And he's going on, and he's talking literally, and they think he's talking symbolically. And so it's almost a Forrest Gumpish kind of thing. Oh, you got to see it, Being There. And anyway, so he ends up like in the highest levels of government, because they all think he's talking in symbolism, and he's just talking about tending his garden. And it's just hilarious. So, you could have gone that route too, but, so you're saying, no, dogs was just, I wanted to play with the neighbor's dogs when I went for a walk. There's some great lines. There's some absolutely great lines in there. So, I mean, it's so tongue in cheek. Like I say, the melody, so that lick is infectious. And then, what's the line? Dogs are like you and me.
Dogs are like you and me.
Yeah, I think that because I often drink from the toilet. So, I no, I don't. I'm just kidding. Well, sort of. But
I'm glad you said that, not me.
I know. That's why I put it out there, so you can just laugh at me. But no, I mean, so really, the song is just about dogs.
Well, no, I maybe I'm going to change my mind on it. And just,
I know. I talked you into it.
And say I'm going to call you after the show and tell you, no, let's I'm going to invent this whole metaphorical line what it is, but it's it's one of those songs that the most asked about song from friends and from people that I know has been dogs, because it's like, are you kind of talking about dogs, or does dogs have nothing to do with this song? And but no, in my case, I must admit it was I was just feeling a little lonely, and I didn't have an animal at the time. I didn't have a dog, so it's like, I'd like to pet your dogs, without being creepy and running up to people's dogs in the suburbs of Ottawa. But and it's and then it's just a description of sort of I grew up in Miguasha, so this was my first opportunity to really be in the suburbs of a city. I heard about these suburbs, but I didn't grow up there and didn't have a lot of experience. So it was it was just describing what was around me at the time.
Well, let's give it a spin. This is Bobby Perron and Dogs on Downhome Corner.
End of town on a quiet street. There's not much drama here. Everybody's clean. There are many paths to walk along. There are many trails. You could even walk downtown from here if you're really brave. Everybody's got their dogs on a leash. I wish that sometimes they would let the dogs go free, and they could run around outside, and we would let them be. Some say that dogs are like you and me. Mr. Smith lives next door to me. He likes to kick the can. He wants to talk about the government, bash the weatherman. Mrs. Wilson likes to tend to her garden and plant her seeds. She'll say, thank God, spring is here. It's what Mr. Smith needs. What Mr. Smith needs. Everybody's got their dog on a leash. I wish that sometimes they would let the dogs go free, and they could run around outside, and we would let them be. Some say that dogs are like you and me. Being quiet, heard some kids down the street. One was laughing, one was crying. You know how kids can be. I live in the west end of town, right by the park. Doesn't matter what time it is, you know it's never dark. Never dark. Everybody's got their dogs on a leash. I wish that sometimes they them be. Some say that dogs are like dogs alike. Dogs are dogs alike. Dogs are dogs alike. You and me.
I want to give a shout out to somebody who kind of connected us here. Cindy Williamson, who is a fan of yours and a fan of the show Downhom Corner, suggested we get in touch. And she got in touch with you guys, and then you guys contacted me. So I just want to say thank you to her. She's a fan of yours, right?
Yeah, so that's how it, Cindy was, I think, was watching maybe one of our Facebook Live shows, and or maybe there was something else going on, and that's and she had actually she told April that Downhome Corner, and that and she gave us a little bit of a description on your show, and that's great. Cindy Williamson, by the way, a shout out to Cindy for sure. She's a huge music fan. I don't know if Cindy plays or sings. I don't remember that. I went to high school with Cindy Williamson so many years ago, and
nice.
But she's a music. I mean, she could more sit in the studio and talk about the history of music with that I was talking about with the guys in the studio than I could. She's a real she's almost like a historian of a lot of rock and roll.
Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of her Facebook posts. She has a lot. She pays homage to a lot of the classic rock and rollers for sure.
Yeah, for sure. No, she's great. She's a lot of fun. She participates in the show a lot, and it's yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And again, Cindy's an example of that I haven't seen in years, and if this project has been nothing else, it's been it's that connection that we've been able to make, and in me personally, with a lot of people that I went to school with or I grew up with, and I haven't seen in years, so that's been great. We talked about just before the show started about connections, and that's what this is about. I mean, these positive connections are awesome. Yeah, I mean, they're great for me, and that's that in the end is what we want from this project is sort of be talking about something positive. It's a crazy world and crazy things, and just trying to put some positive light on it. And it's just amazing the people that's came on board with us, and then you people, people from New Zealand and England and Australia and the United States and all over the place. Philippines, April, who you've had a chance to talk to and does most of my social media stuff, is from the Philippines, and that's been a great connection for her personally, and as well for the music project. But she's been able to reconnect with her friends from back there, some friends she hasn't seen in a long while, and always a nice positive vibe, like a good vibe. And so it's been great, and it's brought us to you, of course. And that's been awesome. That's been awesome talking to you. We chatted the other day, and to invite us to your show has been it's been really, really good, really, really nice.
Oh, it's mutual. Glad to have you on for sure. Now, where can people find you online? You're doing a bit of live stuff as well, and you have a website and things that people can contact you or maybe buy your album type of thing.
Yeah, so we are on Facebook. So Bobby Para Bobby Para Music, I think, is on Facebook. I think because, like I said, April, my partner, does.
Give her the full credit. April Sylvania, correct?
April Sylvania.
Yes.
Or Sylvania.
I love her light bulbs. I buy her light bulbs all the time. Let her know that.
There's Avril Sylvania. Some might know her on because for whatever reason, a lot of people will ask me, is her name April or Avril? It is April, as her mother called her, but she has Avril that you'll see her on Facebook. But she's been absolutely awesome, the best promoter and that I could ever hope for. Willow Sound, the record label, is like, just leave her go and do her thing, and don't touch it. And so that's on Facebook, and we're on Instagram, and we're on YouTube, and we're probably in a couple other places. And I have a website bobbyparra.com, and there's a bunch of content on that. And we have the CD and album that's going to be out for sale. It's a limited copy. It's not out yet, but it will be in the very, very near future. So a little bit just on that, on the way that music works today, is just not the same. It's not like you put 100,000 CDs out into a record store and that's where people went and buy them. And so now there's limited copies of the CD of the full album, and then the digital EP. I think it's called a digital EP. It's hard to know exactly what you're calling, but the digital album, digital EP, I think is going to be available probably in December, where you can purchase the whole digital thing. But right now we have 4 singles out and a 5th one. We actually will have the 5th song coming out on June 28th, I believe. We just got the pre-release on it today, actually. So, and that's the 5th song. It's actual French song. So any French people out there, I wrote 2 French songs on that album, and that's one of them.
That's great that you're branching out. That's and it opens up a whole new market for you as well too, when you think of it. But if you went to bed tonight, you woke up tomorrow morning, and it's say 2 or 3 years down the road, and things are going the way you wanted in your career, what's it look like?
What's my career look like, or what does life look like?
Well, they're definitely connected.
Yeah. So it would not look a lot differently than it does right now, And I've learned that I don't need a bunch of things in my life. I love music. I want to be playing music. I really wouldn't change a lot from what I have right now. That question always makes me uncomfortable, because I really bug April with it, is I can only see today, mm-hmm. and then I'll go to bed, and then tomorrow I'm going to see what tomorrow looks like. And I just try to focus on that moment, and I try to focus on today, try to focus on the moment, and maybe that sounds a little hippie-like, but that's what I do.
I like hippies. I like hippies. It's okay. I like hippies.
So it's the truth, and that's what works for me. But whatever might be happening beyond all of that. I love music, and I want to be playing music. That's for sure. So if I have a guitar, next to me, then and I can play it, then it's going to be okay.
Well, I think that's a great answer, and it just tells me you're in a really good place. If you say I'm pretty happy where I am today, I think you're doing okay. If you say I'm pretty happy with what's going on today, so I think that's a good place to be. I want to thank you for doing the show, Bobby. Thank you for being on the program, and we wish you a lot of luck in the next little while, and hope to have you back again on your next project soon.
Hey, that'd be awesome, and thank you, and a big thank you from April, and again for this connection, and thanks to Cindy. It's been a lot of fun talking to you, for the show, and we talked a little bit outside the show, and fun to connect or reconnect, or we might have crossed paths back in Miguasha, maybe at the lodge at some point. I'm not sure, but in Miguasha. But awesome, and thank you very much for having me.
And that's our show. My thanks to Bobby Parra, who joined us from Ottawa. Support music and musicians. We need more dreamers, artists, entertainers. They're the ones that make the world a better place. So support musicians instead of politicians. If you're a business or brand that needs a professional voice for commercials, tutorial videos, or imaging, I'm your guy. Contact me and let's make some magic together. Steve@downhomecorner.com. Listen to all our shows on our Facebook page or by visiting downhomecorner.com or wherever you hear your favorite podcasts. Till next time, I'm Steve Bijot, reminding you, everybody has a story, and we are all connected.